Welcome to the video lectures on ARM Cortex M3 software interfacing. In this video lecture, we will discuss interfacing of devices such as LED, switches, buzzer, relays, and some ADC and DAC operation. So let us start with the interfacing with LED, switch, buzzer, and relay. Now, in this case, we have to interface LED. Now we know that uh, we require the output port to drive the LED. So here the port 1 pin number 19 is configured as the output pin so that it can drive the LED. In case of buzzer, the port pin should be output. So here port 1 pin number 27 is configured as the output. In case of the relay, this port pin which going to drive the relay, then relay circuitry, then port 1 pin number 28 should be configured as output. Now when we connect a switch, we have to read the status of switch. So port 2 pin number 11 configured as our input pin. Now when switch is pressed, when we press the switch, then the port pin become low. When the switch is open, in case of the normal condition, the port status, if you read the port status P2.11 pin, then it will be logic high. So when we press the key, the port signal will be 0, and when we release the key, the port signal will be 1. So in the normal case, when we are not pressing the key, in normal situation, the status, if you read the port to pin number 11, it will be logic high. When the switch is on, the LED, buzzer and relay should be on. And when we release the switch, in normal case, LED, buzzer, relay should be off. Now, this is a simple flow chart of our logic. So we have to start here, we have to initialize the port. In case of the port pins, we have to initialize as output or we have to initialize as a input. So in case of LED, the port pin should be output. When in case of relay, the port pin should be output. In case of buzzer also, the port pin should be output. But at the pin where we connect the switch, that pin should be configured as input. So at first we have to initialize the port pin. So after that we have to check whether key is pressed or not. So in that case we have to read the status of key using the port here given here, port 2 pin number 11. So using port 2 pin number 11, we have to read this port and we have to check whether key is pressed or not. In normal case, we know that the port signal is logic 1, and in case of when the key is pressed, this status of the port pin will be 0. So here you remember that when key is pressed, yes, when it is yes, when we read the pin status, and that should be equal to 0. When pin status is 0, it means that key is pressed. If key is pressed, what we have to do? We have to turn on the LED, you have to turn on the relay, and we have to turn on the buzzer. So we know that the LED requires a small circuit, that is LED require a resistor in the series, relay requires a transformer, and relay requires a Darlington pair transistor or optocoupler, whatever may be our configuration is. Buzzer require its own circuitry like optocoupler or transformer for the isolation. So here we know that when the key is pressed, we have to turn on the LED. So how to turn on this LED, relays and buzzer? So just provide logic 1 to the pin where the LED, buzzer and relay are connected. So when I want to turn on the LED, I have to provide here logic 1 at this pin, that is port 1 pin number 19. So when I make this pin logic 1, then LED will be turned on. When we make this pin P1.27, that is port 1 pin number 27 to the logic 1, the buzzer will be on. Similarly here also, when the relay we want to operate, the port 1 pin number 28 should be logic 1. So we have to write here, in this case for these 3 pins we have to write down logic 1 there. So when we write down the logic 1, the LED, buzzer and relay will be turned on. So when key is pressed, then we should send the logic 1 to the port pin where LED, relay and buzzer are connected, and then it will be turned on. If key is not pressed, then we have to turn off the LED, relay and buzzer. How to turn off? Just we have to send the logic 0 to the port pin where these devices are connected. Send the logic 0 here when key is not pressed, and then we will jump to the again where key is pressed or not. So particularly in the normal case, when key is not pressed, then this subroutine or this routine executes continuously. It will check for the key press. If it is not, it will turn off the LEDs, and then it will return to the checking whether key is pressed or not. So we are always polling whether the key is pressed or not. So this is the polling concept. If key is pressed, then we have to turn on the LED and relay and buzzer, and again it will return to the key press. So the LED will be turned on up to the time until we press the key. So when we press the key, for that particular time interval, the LED, relay and buzzer will be on. As soon as we release the key, it will be turned off. So at much time, so we have to know that the time for turn on the LED is depending on the duration of the key press. So the duration of LED on, the duration of relay on and duration of the buzzer on is depending on the key pressed duration. So for what time interval the key is pressed. So if it is 2 milliseconds, the only for 2 milliseconds these devices will be turned on. So likewise that. Now we see the program here, how to write down the program. So initially I should include the header file, that is lpc17xx.h. In this header file, the necessary definitions are there regarding the Cortex M3 registers and the useful registers. So out of that we are defining. So define the switch pin. So switch is connected to the pin number 11 of port 2. So only I am specifying here pin number. Remember that I am specifying the pin number. I have not specified here port. So likewise that the LED pin number is 19, the relay pin number is 28 and buzzer pin number is 27. You can see here the pin numbers. Now after that, what we have to do, a very simple case is that the port 1, so all port 1 you can see the LED, relay and buzzer are connected to the port 1. So this port or these pins should be defined as the output. To configure these pins as the output pin, what we have to do here, we have to write down the 1 here. So as we write down 1 here to the direction register, so what we have here, first we have to see the LPC underscore GPIO1. This corresponds to the LPC, means the LPC processor, which header file is included here. So LPC indicate that LPC is the header file and for which processor we are writing this program. So LPC indicate the header file here. Now LPC, then underscore GPIO. GPIO means general purpose input output. 1 indicate the port 1. So here 1 indicate the port 1. What we have to do here, we have to control the direction of that particular port. Now I have selected here port 1 and now using function input output dir, that is direction. Function input output direction. So direction controls whether the port is configured as output or whether the port is configured as input. What we have here only the 3 pins. So what we have to do, only make this pin 1. So if I make this pin 1 and I turn this into the hexadecimal number, or then it is a 32-bit format, and now we know that to configure this pin P1.19, P1.28, P1.27, we have to write down 1 in the function input output direction register. So here we have to define here that this register value, that is direction, will be the 1 1 and other pins will be configured as input here. So only the pins related with this our program, that is will be defined as the output by writing 1 there. Similarly, when it is configured as output, we have to turn off all the relays and buzzers. So again we have to clear the pins. Which pin we have to clear? Just make there one, and that particular pin will be cleared and it will not affect the other pins. Similarly, the port 2, at port 2 we have connected the switch. Now this port 2 pin number 11 should be configured as the input. So here we have to write down the 0. Now you can see here the general purpose input output 2 means the port 2. So port 2, now what we have to do here, we have to control the direction. So for controlling the direction, I am writing 0 to the port 2. So in this case, when I write 0, it means that it will configure as input. Now the whole port 2 is configured as input. Now first we have to define the directions, whether it is input or output. Now after that, what we have to do, we have to do here, we have to check the status. Now we have to read the switch. Now we know the switch is connected to the port 2. We know the pin, switch pin number, and we have to read the status of this pin number. And now we are just masking with 0 1 so that we are getting the particular status of this pin number. Now the status will be stored here. It may be logic 0, it may be logic 1. If it is logic 0, it means that key is pressed. If it is logic 1, it means that there is no key pressed. So here LPC underscore GPIO2 indicates the processor and GPIO indicates the general purpose input output port 2, and here in that we are selecting the input output pin, actual pin, and here the pin number we should specify. So this is the pin number, this is the port. So port 2 pin number. So already we have defined the pin number here. The switch pin number is 11. So here it indicate the port 2, it is indicate the 11, and here we have to read the status of the switch. So if switch status is 0, then key is pressed. It means that we have to turn on the buzzer, we have to turn on the relay, we have to turn on the LED. Now again I have to use LPC underscore GPIO 1, and now I have to use the pin. Now here you can observe the two cases here. Observe the two cases. Here this will be in the reading mode, whereas this is in the writing mode, because we are reading this pin number and writing to the switch status. We are reading the switch pin status and we are writing to the switch status variable. Here we are writing to this part. It means that the direction is what we are doing. We are writing 1 to the buzzer pin number, we are writing 1 to the relay pin number, we are writing 1 to the LED pin number, and it is given to the input output pin status. So only these 3 pins will be affected after the execution of this instruction, and here the 1 1 1 is returned to the particular pin numbers. So it is, this process is going to write the port, this process is going to read the port. You can remember here this is equal to sign. So when LPC is on this side, that is on right side, we know that it is the reading operation of pins. If the LPC GPIO on the left side, we know that it is a writing mode. What content we are writing here, we can specify here. That is 1 we are writing to the buzzer pin, 1 we are writing to the relay pin, and 1 to the LED pin. We have specified all those in the program here. We are specifying the pins here. 19 is the LED pin, 28 is the relay pin, and 27 is the buzzer pin. Now In this case, the buzzer, relay and LED will be turned on. Now if consider the next case, if switch status is 1, it means that the switch is released or switch is not pressed. In normal case, what we have to write down? The 00. So when we write down the 00, so we have to place here 0 to this pin number, we have to space 0 to this relay pin number, we have to place 0 to the LED pin number, and then we are writing to the pin. So here we are writing 00 so that the LED relay buzzer will be turned off. So it is a very simple program. Just what we have to do, we have to take the status of the key pressed. If key is pressed, turn on the LED by writing 11 to the pin numbers. If key is not pressed, then write the 00 to the pins connected to the pins where the LED relay and buzzer is connected. Now we will see the serial communication. So I will demonstrate how to display the hello word, how to transfer the hello word using UART, Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. This is asynchronous transmitter, so that the baud rate is very important. In case of the UART module, what we have here, the registers, the LPC 1768 has total 4 UARTs, which numbers from the UART 0 to UART 3. Similarly, there are pins separately for these UARTs, that is for receiving purpose we have the receiving pin number 0 to the receiving pin number 3, that is RxD 0 to RxD 3, and in case of the transmission purpose we have the TXD 0 to TXD 3. So each of the UART has the separate RxD and TXD pin. But we know that in case of the LPC 1768, so low pin count 1768, the many number of the pins are multiplexed. So in that case, we how to configure the UART. Now you can see here, you take one look here, the port pin, the pin number and the nature here. It is general purpose input output pins are there, and you can see the multiple functions here. Now you can see here it is TXD0. Also it can be used as a ADC0. Again you can see here RxD0. Again it can be used as ADC0 channel number 6. Similarly, if you see this, that is PWM1, in that case also we can refer here, it is the PWM channel. So here what we have to do here, we know that the port pins have the multiple functions. Now we have to configure the port pin for the particular function here. As a transmitter, then I have to configure this port pin for this transmission purpose. This is the RxD, means the receiving part. So if I configure in a receiving part, this port pin will be acts as a receiving pin. Now this pin has the three functions. One is general purpose input output as a digital input output, one is TXD or RxD, and other is the ADC. Similarly here also the three functions are there, that is general purpose input output, PWM methods and RxD and TXD. Here it has the four different functions: general purpose input output, serial communication, then SDA and SCL, then the MAT functions. Then here also there are four functions, that is general purpose input output, the CAN functions, then TXD RxD function, SDA and SCL. Now how to configure this part? So for configuring this, what we need here, the registers, that is called as the UART registers. One register we have started, that is RBR. So RBR contains the received data. So RBR is contain the received buffer register. R means received, B means buffer, and R is the again received data. So here RBR is the received buffer data, received data. So here recently buffer received data. So RBR we have to use this register which contains recently received data. THR, it indicates the it contains the data to be transmitted. So this register has the data that to be transmitted via the serial communication. So what we have here, RBR having the input data or received data, THR having the output data. FCR is known as the FIFO control register, first input first out control register. So you remember the F indicate the FIFO, F indicate the FIFO, CR indicate the control register. This register is very important for configuring the UART, because whatever the data what we have, we can have the formats there, and the formats we can specify using the control register, that is L control register, which are going to control the UART frame format. Frame format means such as the number of bits we are going to transmit, number of stop bits, whether parity is checking or not, whether it is even parity, odd parity or no parity. Then what these tools are the control register. You remember, for the UART operation we have to configure the control register FCR and LCR. Next register is DLL, that is the least significant byte of the UART, and that is used for the baud rate generation. Mainly the least significant byte, that is last LSB, last 8-bit LSB is stored into this DLL, whereas the most significant byte is stored in DLM for the baud rate generation. So least significant byte is stored in the DLL, that is, this is 8-bit, you remember. So we have to note down here the lower 8-bit is stored into the DLL, whereas the higher or upper 8-bit should be stored into the DLM. So DLL and DLM is used for the baud rate generation. So here we have to specify the appropriate value so that the baud rate will be matched. So when the transmitter and receiver baud rate is matched, then only the data can be transferred between receiver and transmitter using the UART mode. To specify the baud rate, we know in this program we are using 9600 baud rate. Now you remember that we have the two register that will going to handle the data, that is received data and transmit data. We have again two registers, that is FCR and LCR, that will going to control the operations here, that is UART, and it can be operated into the various modes by specifying the stop bit, data bit, parity, even parity, no parity, etc. Again there are two registers, DLL and DLM. L indicate here least significant byte, where M indicate here most significant byte for the baud rate generator. Now we will see how to use UART. Now I am selecting UART 0 for our demonstration purpose, because there are 4 UARTs, and out of that I am selecting the UART 0. Now in first case we have to select the configure the general purpose input output pin for UART 0. Now how to select this? Using the pin select register. So PINSEL, pin select or pin cell register, PINSEL, pin select register. So using this pin select register, so we have to select the function as UART. Now we know that one pin has the multiple functions, so that we have to configure that particular pin for the UART operation, and in that case we have to use it the pin select register to configure that particular pin into this TXD or RXD mode. Then we have to use the control register to enable the first input first output FIFO buffer, and that will going to reset the receiver and transmitter buffer. So basically the FCR is used here for resetting the particular TXD RXD, and that will going to flush the buffer. Then we have to configure the LCR, that is control register, and here I am going to configure here in 8-bit mode. So it will going to transmit the 8-bit data along with one stop bit, and I am going to disable the parity because there is no parity, but I am enabling the DLAP. Now after this, now in these two cases, these are general things in the configuration. Now in this case, what we have done here, just we have to selecting the pin function, then we are clearing the buffer, and we are configuring our frame. Now in step 4, we have to get the P clock, that is the peripheral clock, from P clock cell X register. Now we have to read this register PCLK SELX and the 7 and 6 bit. So when we read the register and 7 and 6 bit, we will get the P clock. Now, based on the data getting, when we read the PCLK, SELX, accordingly we have to set the values, we have to calculate the values, that is DLM, DLL, and for our required baud rate. So what baud rate we want, depending on that, from the value of P clock, which is obtained from this register PCLK, SEL, we have to calculate the DLM and DLL values. Now just write down these values into the register DLM and DLL, and uh, after that use the DLAB to clear the DLM and DLL for further access. So here we have to enable DLAB, the DLAB to access DLM and DLL registers. And when we write the data into the DLM and DLL, then we have to disable the access of DLM and DLL using the register DLAB. So you remember that the DLM, DLL, these two registers are required to set the particular baud rate for the serial communication. To enable for writing purpose, we have to use DLAB register, we have to enable the DLAB, and then after writing this, we have to disable it so that the further writing to DLM and DLL will be prohibited. Now we will see the program here, and remember that this I'm shown here program. You remember one thing, you have to practicize this program by typing the content here in the Kyle compiler, and you just compile it and see, download in the kit, and you can see the results. So here first we have to include the header file 17xx.h, lpc 17xx.h. Along with that, we have to include the one more file, that is standard utils. The standard utils are very important in this case because the many functions available in this standard utils, those are used in this program. If this file is not available in the Kyle compiler, what you are using, what version of Kyle you are using, then you download this file from the internet by just typing download stdutils.h, and you can add into your header folder where this file is available. So you can download it. When the stdutils.h file is not available, then download this file from the internet and copy in the folder where the lpc17xx.h file is available. Okay, now we have to define the particular. Now I am defining your values here. So word length is the 00, u is the utils function, then the dlab is 07, then FIFO is 00, then RX, that is received FIFO, that is received buffer is 01, transmit buffer is 02, and received data is 00, and transmit data is 05. So we are specifying the values here. We have to define the S bits here for the particular locations. Next, the main program here. In the main program, I define a string here, that is hello world, and I am going to transmit this string via serial communication. So I am defining a character here A, and this indicates the character array is equal to whatever these characters are will be loaded into this array. Now I am declaring the integer I. So first I am going to initialize the system. So whatever the definitions are written into the header files. Then I am writing a small routine that will going to initialize the baud rate for required baud rate is 9600, and then I am going to transmit the data. So here I am going to transmit the data here, so that you can see here when I is 0, we have a particular the data here, and we are taking there I plus. Then the data will be available here. Then this data is provided for the transmission, and when the transmission is completed, then it will be over, and the program will be stopped. So here byte by byte we are transmitting the data. So the character having the size of 1 byte. So here 8 bit is transmitted first, and so suppose this is n, so that is backslash n, that is new line is transmitted first, then slash r, that is tab, is transmitted the next time, then h is transmitted, ASCII of h, then e is transmitted, l is transmitted. So likewise that, and the space is transmitted, w is transmitted. So here likewise that the characters are transmitted one by one. Now you can see there are two important functions. One is the initialization of the baud rate. There are two functions I have written. One function is to initialize the baud rate 9600, and other function is to transmit a one character. Now we will see the functions. So in case of the UART initialization, I am going to call this function by value. You can see here I have called this function here, and I am given the value directly in the function, that is 9600. So unsigned integer 9600 I have called here. Then I have defined some unsigned 32 variables, that is the variables what we have required. In this case, that is variable for the p clock, the variable for the register values, etc. Now we know we have to select the function here. So I have to write down the function here, and here I have configured this into the UART mode. So here it is configured into the UART mode. Then I am going to enable the RxD and TXD pin here using this register. So here I have written 5 here, that will going to enable that particular RxD and TXD pin. Then what I have did here, I am writing 1 to the as FIFO buffer, I am writing 1 to the transmit buffer, I want 1 to the received buffer. Sorry, this is received buffer, this is transmit buffer, so that I am going to initialize it as the purpose here. That is why controlling the input and output parts. Then I have to control the frame format here. So in case of the frame format, what I have did here, that is 8-bit data, 1 stop bit and no parity, and that s-bit word length is provided here. That is what is the value of s-bit word length, what is the value of sdlab I have provided here. And one thing is that here 03 is written at that particular location, here 1 is written at that particular location, and it is written to the control register. So whatever this value is loaded at that particular address, s-bit address, and that is loaded into the LCR, because you remember here LPC underscore UART 0, I am selecting the UART 0. Here I am selecting what, LPC underscore pin control registers. I am selecting pin con, that will going to control the pin control registers here. Now here I am selecting 0, means it is the port 0. Now here I am selecting UART 0, means UART 0. So here I am writing to this FCR and LCR the particular bits. After that I am going to read the value here, that is LPC SC. So here I am going to read here the peripheral clock, and that peripheral clock is provided here. Now there are some cases here. The first case, when the system core clock is divided by 2. Second case is the system core clock. Then third case is system core clock divided by 2, and third case is the system core clock divided by 8. Now here system core clock, based on this system core clock we have the value here, that is known as the clock values. Already we have calculated that clock values. Now already we have the UART peripheral clock value. Depending on this UART peripheral clock value, we have the variable, that is peripheral clock. Now we have the two values. So here using this value, that is variable peripheral clock unsigned 32-bit value, now I have to calculate the required value to be loaded for the 9600 baud rate. So here you can remember here that it has the four different cases. According to the four different cases, that four different cases we can read the pin number 7, sorry, bit number 7 and bit number 6 from the P clock SEL register, and that is loaded into this register. So here we have only the 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2 and 0, 3 conditions, and we know the what is the actual clock variable. Now the formula is very simple. So variable, clock variable divided by 16 into baud rate, and then we directly have that value, that is 32 bit. Now divide this 32 bit into the two part. One is the lower part and next one is the upper part. So here the lower part is going to masked here, and that will be stored into the register DLL. Then upper part is going to masked here, and that will be stored into this register, so that the required 9600 baud rate will be set. So you remember this formula, that the required value to set the particular baud rate is the peripheral clock divided by 16 into that baud rate. So it is a very simple formula. Then we have to clear the DLAB to, because already we have set the value in the DLL and DLM for the particular baud rate. So after that, after using, we have to clear the DLAB register. You can see here we have set the DLAB value because we are going to modify the DLL and DLM register. One more thing is that you can write down this instruction, that is we can write down one in S bit DLAB here also, that is after this statement also, or you can write down here also. But you remember that this instruction should be written at this particular, or this statement should be written, that is 03 will be written into the S bit word length, should be written here also. So in this way we have set the baud rate. You remember this function is called by value. Now go to the main here. So after execution of this routine, the baud rate is going to set to the 9600. Now next there is a for loop, and here we have to specify here in this case. So here that there is a transmit part here. Now here we have to call UART, the transmit character here. Now you can observe here there is a for loop, I is 0, I is less than 14, I plus plus. So when I is less than 14, it will be executed, and if I is greater than 14, then it will come out from this for loop. Or if I want to execute this routine forever, what we have to do here, instead of writing a condition, we have to write down a general statement here with no conditions. Now the continuously this string will be transmitted. In this case there is no condition, so continuously this string will be transmitted. Now the next subroutine is to transmit the data. So data, you can see here, now this function is a call by value, AI. So AI indicate the here points here, that is the location. So we are started from the 0. So the at A0 there will be the \n, at A1 there will be \r, at A2 there will be the ASCII character of H, and likewise that this character array having the ASCII character of hello world. Now one by one the character should be called. We know I0, we have started from the 0, so string is started from, that is array is started from the 0 location, so A0, A1, A2 up to the last location, and then it will be transmitted. So here how to transmit the data, that is very important step here. So first here it is a call by value, so character value will be loaded into the CH. Then we are waiting for the previous transmission. If previous transmission is done, you can see when the previous transmission is done, if this bit is clear, UART 0 LSR. If this bit is cleared, that is S bit, THRE already we are defined the location here. So LSR, if it is cleared, it means that the transmission we have to okay. So here if the transmission is done, the previous transmission is done completely, then we have to transmit the data. So we have to just what we have to do, the data that is character should be written into this register RT, sorry, THR. So whatever the character value should be written into the THR which is present in the UART 0. So LPC underscore UART 0. In this way we can transmit the data and continuously the data will be transmitted. The next part is the ADC. So as like the UART, we can have the analog to digital converter. Again, what we have here, the total, the 7 channels, AD0, AD1, AD2, AD3, AD4, and accordingly we have the pin numbers. Again, the bits are given in case of the pin cell 1, and accordingly we have to configure uh, these ADC port pins, because they in LPC 176 said the most pins are multiplexed. So these pins are also multiplexed with the another function, that is port 0, or these pins port pins are multiplexed for another operation or the function also. So that we have to configure for the ADC purpose, analog to digital purpose, we have to use the 2 bits from these pin cell 1 or pin cell 0. Now we have to configure, we have to select the particular function, pin function, and here what we have, ADCR, so that is AD control register used for configuring the ADC. Then ADGDR, that is analog to digital converter global data register. So this register contains ADC done bit and the result of the most recent analog to digital conversion. Next is the register ADINTEN, which indicate the AD interrupt enable register, which is going to enable the interrupt related with the ADC operation. Then ADR0 to ADR7, so that is indicate the channel data register. It has the recent ADC value for the respective channel. Then AD start, that is status, sorry, AD stat, that is status register, contains done and overrun flag for all the ADC channels. So as we see here, the ADC purpose, steps for configuring the ADCs. First we have to configure the GPIO pin for ADC function as pin cell register. So use the pin cell register to configure the particular pin as the ADC function. Then enable the clock to the ADC module. Then deselect all the channels and power on the internal ADC module by setting ADCR.PDN bit. Then select the particular channel for the ADC conversion by setting the corresponding bit in the ADCR.SEL, that is the select the conversion. Now set ADCCR.start bit for starting the AD conversion for selected channel. Then wait for the conversion to complete, that is ADGR dot done bit will be set once conversion is over. Then read the 12-bit ADC value from ADGR.reset. So you remember the registers. First is the pin cell register, then ADCR.PDN register, ADCR cell register, ADCR start register, ADGR done register, and ADGR reset register, that is dot reset register. So you remember this register, those are used for the configuring the ADC. Now we will start directly the program. That is first the header file which has the definitions. Then we have to define the reference here, that is 3.3. The reference is given here. Basically the V reference N, that is V ref N, is 0 volt, that is grounded, and the reference voltage is given here. Then we have to define the ADC clock that should be enabled. So we have to define the ADC clock enable. Then we have to select the AD0 channel number 2. So select the channel AD0.2. Then we divide, clock divide will be 1. So here we have to use the formula for ADC clock. So ADC clock will be peripheral clock divided by clock divide. We have defined 1 here, so 1 plus 1 is 2. So peripheral clock divided by 2 is the ADC clock. Then the power up mode here, or power down mode. So here we have to setting 0, that will be power down. If you set here 1, that will be power up. Then we have to start off the conversion here, that is 001 for starting the conversion immediately. Then ADC done. If ADC is done here, then ADCR setup SCM, that is we have to set up the clock here, that is clock divide, add and power up. So basically we have done the initialization of the ADC register. Now see the main program. In the main program, we have to declare unsigned integer I to store the result of ADC. And you remember it is a very simple program. That is, it is a, you can see here, we have to first convert the port pin, that is port 0, pin number 25 to the function as ADO.2. So here we have to select the control part, that is peripheral part, and what we have to do here, we have to enable the ADC clock. Then we have to set up the particular values here. Then we have to select the AD02 for port 0 pin number 25. Now start the conversion using LPC underscore ADC ADCR and start the conversion. Then after starting the conversion, wait until the conversion is done or not. If conversion is done, then read the data which is present in the ADR2, because we are using ADO underscore 2, that is ADO.2, that is channel number 2 here, and we have to mask the 12-bit only to extract the result and store that result into the variable I. So this variable I contain the result value, that is the ADC value, the ADC value reading from that particular port. So analog to digital conversion, the digital value of that particular equivalent analog signal is available in this variable I. Now if you want to again run this, then you can use for loop here or while loop here. So this process will be continuous. Next is the interfacing with DAC. Now here we are going to generate the triangular and square wave. So in case of the Cortex M3 LPC 176X families, there are 10-bit ADCs, and those are provided with the buffered analog output. So it is implemented as a string here, that is ADC, which is most simplest form of DAC, consists of two AND registers in series where n is the number of bits, which simplify forms the Kelvin-Varley divider. LPC176X DAC has only one output pin referred to as AOUT. The analog voltage at the output pin is calculated like this: the value into the V reference P divided by 1024, and that will be the analog voltage. Now we will see how to generate the triangular wave. The triangular wave generation is very simple. First we have to increment the register and send that value to the DAC register, and then when it reaches to the maximum, then again decrement that particular value. When it reaches to the minimum value, again increment that particular value. When it reaches to maximum value, again decrement it. So first we have to decrement up to the maximum, first we have to increment up to the maximum, then we have to decrement up to the minimum, and this process should be continuous. So here we have to do the same thing here. First is the value that to be loaded into the DAC register. Now the main program here, that is system init LPC pin control pin select, we have to select as a DAC purpose. Then so here the port 0 pin number 26 will be declared as the DAC port, that is digital to analog port pin. Then we have to use the two while loop. This is the outer while loop, this is the inner while loop. So in case of inner while loop, first we have to increment the value. Initially the value is 0, so it is incremented the value. Now we have to increment this value, and now after incrementing this value, now send to the DAC register. So So LPC underscore DAC, that points to the DAC register, and put that value here. So send to the DAC. Now you check whether the maximum is achieved or not. The maximum value is 1024. If it is greater than 1024, we have to break. It means that we have to come out from this while loop. Otherwise, the continuously we have to execute this routine. So it will be increment the value and again send to the R. Again it will be increment the value, again send to the DACR. And this process is continuous. But if it reaches to the maximum value, then we have to break this while loop. Now after this, what we have to do, now it is at the value is at the maximum value, then we have to decrement this, then we have to decrement this. Now you can see here the value is decremented, and again it is going to send to the DACR. It will going to send to the DACR, and when it is decremented, you can see we are comparing with the 0. It is equal to 0 or less than 0. If it is reaches to the minimum, then we have to come out from this while loop. When the control is come out from the while loop, it is come to the outer while loop. Again it will execute this part, that is incrementing part, and again sending it. So this will be the positive slope. This routine gives you the positive slope. So after execution of this routine, we have the next routine. This gives you the negative slope. Again after execution of this, we are getting the positive slope. After execution of this, we are getting the negative slope here. And this process is continuous process because we are using a infinite while loop, and thus we are generating first incrementing, then decrementing, then incrementing, then decrementing, and thus we have the triangular wave. Next is the square wave generation. It is a very simple part. I am calling one delay here. So in the square wave generation, we have the pin status, maybe first it is 0 and then it is maximum. Now here I am using the DAC. So in that case, the DAC register should be minimum for some duration, and then it should contain the maximum value for the another duration. Now here I am taking the on time and off time is same. So here I am calling the single delay. Now first you can see here the routine, that is main routine. First you have to initialize the system, then you can select the pin function as DAC function here, and here we are selecting the port 0 pin number 26 for the DAC purpose. Then there is an infinite loop here. In first case I am writing the maximum value to the DAC, so it will generate the maximum voltage. Then I have called the delay, so maximum voltage will be stand for that particular time delay. After completion of the time delay, then I have written here 00. So then I am calling the delay. So here for this delay, this DAC value is minimum, and here the at the pin DAC A out we have the minimum voltage. So here we have the maximum voltage, here we have the minimum voltage. We are calling the delay. Now here I am called here delay here. Just I am writing here the routine that that is unsigned integer ms. So ms means this 20. Again this routine is a call by value, so this 20 will be called here, that is by value, and it is provided ms will be equal to 20 here. Then I is less than 20 or not. If it is less than 20, we can execute this routine. J is less than 200, yes, then it will be executed here. So when this condition is false, again it will come to here and it will decrement the value 20 to 19. So likewise that this execute the routine and it will generate the delay. So remember that in first case we are sending maximum value to the DAC register DACR, then calling the delay. After that we are sending the minimum value and then calling the delay. Thus we have seen in this lecture that how to interface some devices like LED, switches, relay, buzzer, then analog to digital conversion, digital to analog conversion, and also we have seen the serial communication by sending the serial data to the any serial devices. Thank you.